Hi guys, welcome back, welcome back. For those of you who are new here, my name is Brianne and I make a variety of content, mainly surrounding my faith, health, fitness, food from scratch, the gym, things like that. So if that's something you're interested in, watching more content surrounding that, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I want to talk about a juicy topic. Now that I'm married for, a little over a year, I got married in September of 2023. I want to go ahead and share my story. I felt led to talk about how God led me directly to my husband, like very supernaturally. So feel free to grab a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. I've got my tea here, and we can go ahead and sit and we can talk about it together, because there's so many intricate details that go into this story, so many beautiful things that God did and God ordained literally before the foundations of the world, just like his word says. And not only that, but there were so many times where I doubted God's word. I doubted his promises. I heard words. I felt my faith growing behind those words. And I saw it happen for other people, but for some reason I felt like that couldn't happen for me. And I'm just here to tell you that that couldn't be farther from the truth. Just to give a little bit of context, just a little bit of background. So let's see, we are in January 2025 right now. My husband and I met in May of 2023. So we actually met on my 26th birthday. Before that, I personally was single. I was living in Atlanta. I was a waitress, so I was really just focused on working, and I actually had just moved out of my mom's place. She ended up moving states, so I was living on my own for the first time. So yeah, as you can probably think, I was just working a lot. I was content being single, and I was just focused on just going to church and growing in my faith and curating the relationships that God had blessed me with. That was my biggest focus. I had previously gone through a little bit of heartbreak with two different men prior to meeting my husband. So I feel like because of those experiences, I was kind of like more settled in the fact that, you know what, I'm just going to focus on the Lord. I'm just going to focus on what he has blessed me with. And if he has a husband for me, if I'm meant to be married, then I know that that will happen at the right time. I just clearly saw that the enemy will definitely try and send some counterfeits to you, so definitely be on alert. My friend and I had decided for my birthday, this was like a last minute trip that we planned. So we were planning on going to South Florida. I had never been to South Florida. I had only been to like the Clearwater, Tampa area before. So she was like, girl, we should go to Florida for your birthday. And I was like, yeah, let's go. We ended up packing our bags, and May 15th, we took our plane and we went out to Florida, and it was absolutely beautiful. The weather was perfect. She had told me that she had a friend who was local, and he had given his life to Christ a couple years prior, or a year prior. She was like, I'm gonna invite him to come hang out with us. She invited him to come hang out. I was pleasantly surprised at how handsome he was. He was a chocolate man, very tall, and I was just like, he walked up and I was like, oh, hey, handsome. I didn't say that, but he was just, the initial interaction was very respectful. He had a very peaceful countenance about him. I ended up inviting him for my birthday dinner, which was the next night, and I was pretty excited. So the next night comes along and we're getting ready. We're about to go to dinner, and we're going to be meeting with him. So at this point I'm getting excited, and I'm like, trying to tell myself to calm down. I'm like, literally going to be here for 2 days. Like, you don't even know anything about him. So I was just kind of trying to shut down the entire idea of any potential connection that we could possibly have. But, that side, the other side was like, getting excited and, ooh, I want to look cute and all that. So yeah, we pulled up and he was there to meet us at the front door, and looking very handsome and cleaned up, because the day prior he had came from work, so he was wearing like all black and still handsome. But seeing him the next day and how he kind of transformed into his dress clothes was like, okay, he's looking very nice. He greeted me with like a very gentle hug and like a Haitian kiss. He's Haitian. I don't know if a Haitian kiss is even a thing, but it was like a very, one of those side kisses, like where you're like that. I never really do those, but anyway, so that's what he did. And on top of that, he was smelling very good. So overall, it was just like, okay, very good first impression. So we go and sit down, we have our dinner, and I'm sitting across from him. It was a little awkward because my friend had actually brought her other friend that actually prior, she was like, maybe you guys could date or something, and it ended up going like, I was like absolutely not. Like, I was not attracted to him at all. So it was a little awkward because he was sitting next to her, and then I'm sitting across from this guy that I've never met. And yeah, but anyway, overall it was a really good night. And I just remember thinking, I was like, he was just so mysterious, sitting across from me. I'm just like, I was so used to guys being like so extra and like clear, like making it so clear that they're feeling you, like, can I get your number, like yada yada yada. And I got like a completely different type of reaction from him. So it kind of bubbled up in me this desire to know more about him. I remember talking to my friend and I was like, I'm gonna add him on Facebook. And so that's what I did. So I added him on Facebook and actually sent him a message, something like, it was nice meeting you the other day. And so he ended up messaging me back, and from there it was just kind of casual, organic conversation. It started off a little surface level, but it was just clear and mutual, like we were both trying to get to know each other. So that transferred to a text, and so we started texting, and quickly it was like, we're over here typing out these paragraphs, and it's like, let's just get on the phone. So we ended up talking on the phone and getting to know each other further. We were just hitting it off. It was like, to my surprise, it was just like, wow, like this is pretty amazing. And I'm kind of wrestling, obviously, in the beginning with, is this from the Lord though? And how far should this go? And I'm sure he was wrestling with the same thing, because he had gotten out of a relationship months prior before we had came into each other's lives. So we're talking on the phone. At this point, it's like a nightly thing, because I was a waitress, so usually when I got off of work, we would call each other and talk for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it was just nice. It was just very refreshing. He was so mature. We both were like, okay, this is probably a God thing. And so in the midst of all that, we were spending time in prayer, just communing with the Lord, like, Lord, did you send him, Lord? And then he's praying, did you send her? And we're also praying together as well. Like, as the days were going on, we were just like, okay, God is doing something here. And indeed he was. It was just so supernatural how he brought us together. Best way I could describe it is like, if you could look at your life as a puzzle, like an incomplete puzzle. It's like God is just, if you allow him to lead you, right, then he's like putting these puzzle pieces together and they're connecting, right? But you don't really see the full picture until the end. But you know that things are coming together as they're supposed to. And so that's what this felt like. And so through us chatting, we decided, let's meet in person again. Let's have an official date and let's really like get to know each other in person, because obviously it's two completely different reactions when you're long distance versus in person. So the following month, I ended up flying back out to Miami, and we met at a coffee shop, and that was our first date. And it was such a cute first date. Actually, how we celebrated our anniversary, because we had our first baby. She turned 3 months on our anniversary, so we ended up going back to that coffee shop and kind of reliving our first date, but with our baby. So that was really nice. He remembers as we were sitting there and I was speaking, he was kind of just in thought and prayer in that moment. He said that he heard the Lord tell him, she's the one. My baby just woke up. All right, so my baby girl just woke up. So I guess she's gonna finish the video with us. So he heard the Lord speak to him and say, she's the one. And I remember after that, we had went to the beach, and I have this thing with eye contact, especially like if I'm talking to somebody that like is attractive or I'm attracted to. I could just tell, like I could just see the love that he had for me in his eyes, and it was making me a little nervous. So we were at the beach, and I remember he was like just staring into my eyes, and I was like breaking eye contact, because like part of me was just like, no, like there's no way this could be it. Like there's no way God, like it was this easy. There's no way. And not that it was easy, because you know I had went through so many different things beforehand that was like really hard, but it led up to something beautiful. And so I was kind of resistant to believe, like, bro, this literally is my husband. Like God did that. Like God did that. I didn't do that. He didn't do that. My friend didn't do that. Like God did that. And so it was just hard to believe in that moment. So he ended up proposing to me during this time and was like, let's get married. And I was like, yo, like this is really happening. So yeah, we decided, you know what? God decided that we were gonna go ahead and move forward and start planning out our wedding. And so that's what we did over the course of the next 3 months. So from June up until September, when we got married, we were just planning. And mind you, I was living obviously in Atlanta, so I had to end up breaking my lease. He ended up coming out there to help me finish packing and move. And so there was a lot of moving pieces in those 3 months, but we're just like, you know, why wait? So yeah, like this testimony, this is just a testimony of God's grace and mercy. And I just hope that this encourages you guys, because if he can do something so beautiful for my husband and I, who thought we weren't worthy of love at some points in our life, we felt like God had forgotten about us in some points, during some points of our life. And you know, I got to a point where I was questioning if I'm meant to stay single for the rest of my life. If God had me out here like Paul. But he showed me, he said, just be patient and just wait on me. And if you trust in the Lord and allow him to guide your steps, I promise you, he will direct your path. And that path will lead to your husband. That path will lead to your wife in due time and due season. Now, this is just my story. And obviously God can move however he wants to move, right? It's not just in the way that he moved for me and my husband. You know, I'm not going to condemn dating apps. Do I recommend them? No, I'm not going to recommend them either, because that's something I kind of dabbled in before my husband, and that was just a hot mess personally. But I've also met people, you know, women of God who have met their husband through dating apps, and it turned out to be a beautiful, godly thing. So like I said, I'm not going to condemn it. I know everybody has a unique and different story, but this was just our story. The amount of peace that we both felt when we were talking to one another and praying about the situation, it was just such a God thing. And it was such a suddenly thing. Like, I kept hearing that message, like, it's gonna happen suddenly. It was like a prophetic word that was going around, and I believed it. I always was believing, like, you know, when you least expect something, that's when it's gonna happen. And although I believe that, you know, my faith was constantly being tested, and, you know, it's a process. Definitely, it is a process. It's over a year later, and just to see and look back of what God has done just in my life alone is nothing short of a miracle. It's nothing short of just God's favor and God's love that He has for me. So I pray this encourages you guys just to continue to seek the Lord, whether you're in that season of waiting or whether you're like similar to me and like you believe you found the one. Just trust the Lord, trust that He is leading you accordingly, and He will not steer you in the wrong way. Hope this bless you guys. Until next time. Say bye, sweetie. Bye.